Hi there, welcome to this video where we explore as to how we can format pivot tables. So we'll continue from where we left off in the previous video where we had created a pivot table by using two fields in the same row. So we have the loan status as well as the home ownership show up in the same row. Okay, so keeping that in mind, we'll focus on the formatting aspect. So how do we go about formatting a pivot table? So if you look at it, if you click anywhere on the pivot table, there is a design tab that shows up. So if you click on that, the obvious things is the styling. So as you hover over it, you get a bunch of styles. There are more options that you can work with. You can even create your custom style. So if you have an organization branding that you want to implement, you could go in and do that as well. But our focus mostly for this video is on the content that is shown on the pivot table. So first is the subtotal, right? So there are a couple of options here. Do not show subtotals. So as you can see, subtotals are already shown here for fully paid as well as defaulting customers. The values are shown here. These are the subtotals and the grand total is shown at the end. So let's say we want to exclude subtotals. You could just go in here and say, do not show subtotals, correct? So it depends on how you want to represent the data. So, and then there is an option, so show all subtotals at the bottom of the group or at the top. So at the moment, we had it at the top, so we'll keep it at that. So this is the way probably you can customize the way how it looks. Similarly, you have the grand total, very similar here. So you have the grand total show up. So here there is an option, show grand total for rows and columns. For now, it only shows us for rows, right? Because our layout is only for rows. But if you have a column layout, then we could explore that as well, which we will see. What we'll do right now is I'm going to just change this layout. I'm going to move home ownership to columns. So having done that, we get to see grand total at the column level as well as the row level. So now let's go back here, go into grand totals under design. So now I can see on for rows and columns or only on for rows. So now if I say on for rows only, the column grand total is gone, right? So what is that? I said on for rows only, right? Okay. So it's only showing for rows and so on and so forth. So if I off it for both, then it's not showing the grand total at all. So these are the ways by which you can, tweak the presentation of the data. Let me just switch it back to where it was. Perfect. So the last one that I want to show is the report layout. So in report layout, the default option that we get to see right now is the compact form, where both the fields are showing as a single column, correct? So if I click on outline form, see how it shows up. Now it's splitting up these two fields as two separate columns. So we have the loan status showing as a separate column here, and then we have the home ownership. So it depends on how you want to present this data. But then let's say you want to repeat the loan status labels here, you could do that as well. So let's see how we can do that. So if I go to report layout, keeping the outline form intact, I can say repeat all item labels. Perfect. There you go. So if you want to copy this data to another location and you want this data labels to show up, this is one way that you could work on it. So obviously, there are quite a few options under pivot tables that you can use. So then there is the option of tabular form as well, very similar that you can work with, right? So minor changes here in the way it's represented, but otherwise it's pretty much the same, right? So these are the options that you can work with. And if there are any blank rows, you can handle them as well. So these are some additional options. And then additional formatting options as well. If you want to show the row and column headers, banded rows, banded columns. So these are some additional options you can work with. So depending on how you want to present your data, you could go through these formatting options and it'll definitely serve the purpose for you. Okay, perfect. So in the next video, we will explore about pivot charts. So till I meet you in the next video, it's bye from me.